The signs are all around us. Negative GDP, a plunging stock market, rising interest rates, war in Ukraine is taking an economic toll far beyond Ukraine and Russia and all those sanctioned oligarchs. Business Insider reports the phrase, how to prepare for a recession, is surging in Google searches. But it doesn't necessarily have to be all bad news. With the right plan, a recession can cause minimal financial damage to Americans. And in some cases, listen to this, you can even make money. I think we all want to know how to come up with a plan just like that. For that, I want to bring in Kathryn Tuggle. She is the Chief Content Officer of HerMoney.com and the author of the book, How to Money. And the money smart guy, Matt Sapaula, he is a Marine veteran whose new mission is leading people to financial independence. This topic is certainly very, very interesting. A lot of people are wondering about it. Kathryn, let me start with you. Can you actually get rich during a recession? And if so, how do you do it?
I mean, it depends, right? Look back at 2008. There were certain people, certain investors, certain sectors who did very well. And, you know, I think it would probably be the same for the next recession. There will always be winners and losers in every recession. But I think to plan to get rich, that seems a little foolhardy. I would say maybe plan to hang on to more of your money. You know, when we talk about making more money during a recession, sometimes it's not about the amount that you make. It's about the amount that you can save. It's about the amount that you can stop spending to prepare for those rainy days.
Matt, I think a lot of people right now are worried about investments they have in the stock market. I was even just talking to one friend today who was saying, gosh, should I sell? I'm so anxious right now. Is this the time to sell, do you think?
You know, not giving financial advice here, but the S&P 500 dropped this year, at the beginning of the year, 13.3%, the worst showing since 2008, first showing of the year of since 2008. So if you're a long-term investor, this is just part of the game. This is part of the game. You know, Warren Buffett said it best. Number one, inevitably, the stock market will crash, but also inevitably, the market will also rebound. So if you have a long-term perspective, this is one of the times where you have this fancy financial strategy called dollar cost averaging, where you could buy more shares or buy more opportunity to get involved in the stock market, but less costs per share. And so therefore, when the market rebounds, you have more stocks or shares under your belt.
Yeah, makes sense. Kathryn, what about real estate? Moving on from the stock market, a lot of people also talking about real estate. Some people have been thinking about buying right now. Obviously, we know how hot it is. You're not going to get a deal right now. But what about saving your money now and seeing what happens if there actually is a recession? Is that a good time to buy?
Mm-hmm. Real estate has long been a strong inflation hedge. It's been a good recession-proof asset. We know that a lot of retirees invest in real estate so that they can cash out at a later date. So that house is not necessarily just a house to live in. That house becomes, you know, an asset in the same way that your 401k or that your IRA is. I would just say, you know, we've heard a lot of crazy stories lately of people paying $150,000, $200,000 over asking price. And that's crazy. Don't do that. You know, don't waive the inspection. Don't pay far above market value because, you know, I think a lot of people wanted to get in while interest rates were still low. But it is far better to pay a slightly higher interest rate and get a better deal on your home. Because, you know, even if you do plan to cash out one day and sell that home, you want to love it. You want to be able to live in it. You want to be able to breathe a sigh of relief when you come in the door, and you don't want to be house poor for the next 5 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah, plus it might be worth to wait it out. I mean, if there actually is a looming recession and you wait till next year and you get a killer deal, I mean, it seems like it would certainly be worth it. Matt, obviously no one knows for sure if this is actually going to happen, but there are a lot of predictors pointing in the direction of a recession. What would be your top 3 things for people to be doing right now? Should they actually be preparing?
Yes, they should be. A couple of tips off the top of my head. Number one, if you can, reduce any unnecessary spending as possible, meaning that you should be tucking away as much as you can because you want to increase your cash reserves, increase your capital. So either cash reserves for a job layoff or just an emergency that comes and might potentially derail your financial goals, but you want to have cash reserves for emergencies, but at the same time use that as capital to invest into opportunities down the road. So, which leads me to number 2, do your very best to improve your credit score, because when I experienced the first recession in 01, when I experienced the first recession in 08, 09, I remember so many times I thought to myself, I'm doing opposite of what everybody else is doing. Everybody was so emotional. Everybody was like screaming, oh my gosh, these things are happening. I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to do this. And I'm thinking to myself, am I odd? Am I weird saving more money? Am I odd? Am I weird trying to improve my cash and capital? But yet those were the times, those were the exact times, those were the seeds that allowed me to be a business, to be an entrepreneur. I've never taken out an SBA loan. I've never taken out any grant or any type of business loan. I've been able to sustain myself as an entrepreneur for 23 years because during those tough times, I was able to double down and reinvest back into my business, reinvest into opportunities, because you become the bank during these moments. When people can't get from the bank, you become the financer in your local community.
Yeah, Matt, you make a good point also about people getting emotional. I was thinking today back to the recession in 08. I had just graduated college. I still think back to getting my first job and having to be furloughed almost immediately. I mean, that was traumatic, and a lot of people went through that. Kathryn, I mean, do you think I think it makes people emotional. Do you think people should calm down, or should they be sort of freaked out at this point and be preparing?
It makes people very emotional, and it's not just the recession. It is the war in the Ukraine. It is, rising interest rates. It is everything that we've been seeing that are infecting the markets, including the fact that if you ask 20 different economists what's going on right now, you'll get 20 different answers. Nobody likes uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds discomfort, which breeds stress, which breeds worry. I would just say sometimes the best move is to do nothing. We see time and time again that investors who stay the course fare better over time. There was a Fidelity study that looked at investors from the 2008 recession, and those who stayed invested, stayed in the market, and didn't pull their money out fared far better than those who tried to pull their money out of the market. So I would definitely advise stay calm right now.
That sounds like very sound advice. Sometimes I think it's easier said than done because I think everyone's a little nervous right now, especially with all of the headlines. But you're right. No one really knows, and we're just going to have to wait it out. Kathryn and Matt, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.